Hello everyone, this is Gary Kayye.
And Joel Rollins.
And we are coming to you live from InfoComm at the end of day 2 here in Orlando, Florida.
And my feet hurt.
I think everyone's feet hurt. So we're here to review what we saw on day 2 at InfoComm. Joel, why don't you start off? Tell me what you saw that most impressed you today.
That most impressed me wasn't a product, actually. It was a program. I think for those of you in this business, and I know an awful lot of you, a lot of us could tell a story about how in school we got turned on to this kind of technology, and it was usually in ones or twos. I happened to be at my school the guy who set up overhead projectors for people, and it was later on that I discovered that it could actually become a profession, right? But I got introduced to two guys from Australia who've built a program in a grammar school that is actually formalizing that process, and the way they are changing the lives of the kids is incredible. So anyway, two guys, Benny Caswell and Tobias Ogle, I had a long talk with them this morning. Tomorrow on the website we will have a movie and a whole article about them. But basically speaking, what they've done is they've taken a whole bunch of kids and they are turning out some of the most professional looking shows and videos I have ever seen in my life. And
do you have did they show you some of the ones?
They did, and we're going to have one on the website tomorrow morning. So all of you, take a look. This has been incredible, and I thanks to InfoComm, they've brought them here, and they're trying to actually put a program together that other schools could use. So I'm very excited.
Did you realize Mike Weems was just standing there staring at us?
I did, yes, but I'm busy talking about a program I like, Gary. So what did you see?
I think the thing that dominated my day was LEDs. There's LEDs everywhere. It's clear that LED is going to, number one, they've come down in price. Number two, there's a lot more options. Number three, the pitch has gotten better and better. I mean, in fact, at the layered planar booth, they had a 0.7 millimeter pitch LED. I mean, that's the same as a direct view LCD monitor. Of course, it's a lot more expensive and it's a lot for a different application. But now we have LEDs at every application. And Barca has a really good demo in their booth where they're showing the 4 different LED pixel pitch for the 4 different X series LEDs. And it's good because you kind of think automatically that if you're going to be close to something, you need to use a 1.2 or 1.4 or 1.5, sorry. But then what they've shown is that even at 3.2 and other resolutions like that, that you don't have to be that far away for it to be really effective. One cool thing about the layer planar booth, they actually had a touch LED. I don't know if you had a chance to see that.
I did.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen that before. It's kind of like I don't want to say a membrane on top of it, but it wasn't glass, which is good because the heat problems with glass, obviously with LED walls. But it feels very similar to glass. It feels a little bit like a film over top of glass. I was really impressed with that. The number of LEDs here was amazing. NEC had a really good booth display of LEDs. Obviously, the transparent LEDs I talked about yesterday from LG, and I just think that there's sort of 2 themes going on here at the show. 3 themes, I would say: 4K, collaboration, and LEDs.
I would say VR comes right in there, but that's okay. The other thing I saw that I really liked, you know how every year you always have the big product and the small product that you really like?
Yeah.
I really like the new digital signage system from Tightrope that actually uses the Apple TV as
one.
the player. Yeah.
That's neat how they're doing that, because it's not an app that you download.
It's cloud-based.
Yeah, exactly. And what's cool about that is you don't have to download an app, and you can totally manage the system across the cloud and actually dial right into the Apple TV. So you actually have the ability to connect locally, which is something new. It's just available in the last update of the Apple TV. It's something new that Apple hasn't really talked much about.
Yeah, they're over in the 800 row. Take a look.
What else, Joel? I've got some notes here that here's one thing. As you guys know, one of the things I hate about HD-Base-T, I like HD-Base-T as a standard, but what I hate about it is that Rollins, who runs HD-Base-T through their quote-unquote alliance, they don't actually manage the standard. So when you buy an HD-Base-T product, sometimes it's 2-play, 3-play, 4-play, and you don't know what you're getting, so there's not a lot of compatibility. So if you're using an Extron transmitter with a Crestron receiver, an Aurora transmitter with a Geffen receiver, you don't know whether they're working or not, or if they don't work, you're not sure why they're not working. There's a small company called Media Solutions that's in the HD-Base-T Alliance booth that actually has a product called, let me think what they called it, the Test Pro. So it's m4sol.com. They have a product called the Test Pro. You plug it into the transmission end and receiving end, it'll tell you what's going through from one product to the other. So if you have a transmitter already, you plug in a receiver and it reads it, or if you have a receiver, plug it in the transmitter on that end, and it shows you on an LCD display and on a web page, if you dial into it, which lines, which pairs are having a problem and how high or how close they are to the threshold. And it was interesting because they fed 1080 60, 444 into it, and the same line fed 4K 60, 444 into it, and you could see how much closer it got to the threshold, but one pair was off. And when the pair would off, it would tell you, okay, this pair has a problem, re-terminate it. They would re-terminate it and fix the problem. This is a test tool specifically for integrators, and it solves the problem I've been complaining about for years. This literally solves the problem of using HD-based T because it tells you what's going to work with what.
Hey, with everything, appropriate test gear takes the mystery out of it.
It does take the mystery out of it, but for an integrator, it's a lot of help because it saves a lot of time, especially since HD-based T is becoming so popular of a transport platform in our industry, at least. What else did you see, Joel?
I think those were really the things that I liked the most. Obviously, a lot of 4K projection.
Yep.
A lot of great laser engine machines. I mean, I think the market is becoming dominantly laser engined, which changes a lot of the economics of projection. I wrote an article for Rave last month that was like, the rumors of projection's death are greatly exaggerated. So, we're coming along with technologies now that in lots of situations still make projection the right way to do things.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I had a session this morning, the 4K digital canvas, and I talked about how I think the big value of 4K isn't the resolution, it's how you can throw so many pixels up on a screen and do so much more with it, right? And there's a lot of really creative systems out there that are doing that. There's a lot of products that are in the $1,500 range that are doing monitor wall configurations at 4K. What they basically do is they take in sources at native resolution. So you're not sending any of it at 4K source, because there's not any 4K sources there's not a lot of 4K sources that are available, except maybe cameras. And then what they know that you're mostly using is PowerPoint and Excel and Word. You feed that in at 1080, and it builds a 4K image and puts it wherever you want, sort of like virtual click sharing, I guess you would say, at 4K. I think that's going to be the future. By the way, you love the rental staging part of the market. Barco has an interesting lens for the UDX projector where the lens actually is on the side of the projector rather than a short throw lens, that's 0.3, right? So they have a 30,000 amps lumens projector that they're projecting from about 5 feet away, a 17-foot wide image from 5 feet away.
Wow.
And so what's cool about it is instead of putting the lens on the top, like most of them do in short throw projectors, which creates a problem where you get that kind of effect from the heat on the screen, and also you can't stack projectors, the lens comes out the side so that you can stack projectors and you don't have that heat problem. It's an exclusive lens that Nikon built them.
If I could say another thing that I really enjoyed here at the show today, and it's something that's been developing over the last several shows, but InfoComm's partnership with the IA is phenomenal. I watched today several rigging safety demonstrations that, frankly, back when I was in non-union companies, I wish I had seen.
Yeah.
Because at times I think we're unaware of some of the risks that we're taking. And, some of these guys have 30 years experience on stage, and it's great to see them here and participating in our association.
Hey, I've been reading my notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. My vote, and definitely probably going to win the award for best demo on the show floor, is definitely NEC's LED projection demo that they did where they had this cave. Did you have a chance to see that? I mentioned to you yesterday. Yeah. I've gone back to it 3 or 4 times, and it's just amazing how well they did that. It's expensive. Now they're talking about putting it in very high-end retail applications. So the thing's a couple of $100,000 to build a system like that, but because it's not you're not wearing headsets, right? You're literally standing in a room. It reminds me of the old cave back in the Seagraph days.
Sure.
You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember it well.
Yeah, I mean that's been a long time we've been in the industry to remember stuff like that. So, in walking around the show floor, another company I saw that was kind of cool is this company called Quirk Logic, Quirk Logic. Did you happen to see there?
No, I haven't seen that yet at all.
They're based out of Calgary, Canada, and they have a...
Calgary's in Alberta, by the way.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, yeah, it's Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And they are... they built an e-ink display that I want to say is 42 inches. It's mounted vertically. It lasts 14 hours on a battery, and it's a write-on surface, but it also projects like PowerPoint slides and Keynote and that kind of stuff, but it's all e-ink. So it's kind of interesting because it gives you the ability to sort of have, it literally kind of, I guess the best way to describe it is it duplicates the old-timey flip chart days with e-ink. So the cool thing about that is you can have multiple ones of these in your room, or you can connect with the internet, the people on the far side see the same content, all the same kind of stuff that you do with collaboration boards, except it's limited to this one function, but more importantly, it's battery operated and it's e-ink. So it's inexpensive comparatively.
Really? I got to take a look at that.
Yeah,
that
it's a company called Quirk Logic. I was impressed with their display. I'm trying to think of small companies that I saw some, because the big companies are always impressive. I mean, the big displays, the projection displays, the big monitors. I think they're going to get a lot of press anyway, right, from both us and all the rest of the press in the industry. It's a little kind of discovery products that's really, oh my gosh, there's a company that built a piece of plastic that they patented that fits around truss that allows you to do cable management on top of truss. I'm going to show that to you. If I remember, I'll bring that tomorrow and I'll show that to you because that is a really simple product. It's a little piece of plastic, and can I go get it and show it to you? Because you're in the staging market. I think you would have a greater appreciation of this than most people. People that have seen it here locally are just raving about this, and so I had to go over and look at it because everyone that's in staging thinks this is the greatest thing, and I thought this is just a piece of plastic, but apparently this is a big deal in the staging market, so I'm going to run go get it.
Okay, I'll stay here.
Talk to me.
Yeah, okay, and keep talking. Keep the audience occupied. No, actually, one of the things I really want to urge you to do is tomorrow we're going to have, you'll see on the Rave Pub's website, an article about a program called Tech Crew. And you really, really need to see this. It's one of the most dynamic programs I've ever seen. And I spent an hour today with the people who authored the program, and they've just done a phenomenal job. Like I said before, I think a lot of us had that kind of experience in school, and it kind of hit me that, wow, somebody's actually organized this now. And the fact that InfoComm's assisting them with it, I think, is one of the best things I've ever seen out of our association.
Speaking of InfoComm, there's Mr. InfoComm right there. Come join us, Mr. InfoComm. Can we get you on here real quickly, just for a minute? We didn't know you were going to be here. I hope his microphone's on. Let's say yes, it is on. We put this on? Here, put this on here. You don't mind sitting close to me?
Folks, for those of you who haven't met him yet,
clean living.
Is he showing up on the camera there? Okay, good.
This is our illustrious leader, Dave Lebuscus.
Look at this. Look at that.
President of InfoComm.
The man. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I am awesome. How are you, Gary?
This is the guy who runs InfoComm. This is the president of InfoComm. Hey, Dave.
No, I'm not the president.
You're the executive director.
Gary Hall is the president.
Okay, you're the executive director and CEO, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Dave, you've got a couple of three-decade background in our industry. Most recently came from the design side. Been running InfoComm now for what, 4 or 5 years?
This is my fifth InfoComm.
Fifth InfoComm. Is this the best InfoComm ever?
It really is. It really is. There's an energy about this thing that started with our opening reception party at Mango's with 1,600 people, and has continued with record registration. The floors are absolutely packed. Everybody looks like they're doing business. I haven't talked to an exhibitor that isn't excited. Beyond all of that, the content that we've put together is changed the conversation. I think it really is changing the conversation in the industry. We have 36% of the people that are here for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was actually going to comment and say I wrote an article and I complimented you earlier in my column.
Thank you. I'll read it.
You should. Yeah. Now he'll read it. Yeah. But the composition of this crowd is amazing. More younger people, more international people, and more people out of other parts of the electronic industry joining our association. Phenomenal job.
And actually, this is a good example of how our industry has changed. We are live streaming this on Facebook right now, and we yesterday we had about I think it was 70 or 80 live viewers of our live 6 p.m. Facebook broadcast, and here we are lucky enough to get Dave. If we'd known we were going to get Dave Lebuscus, we'd have probably had 3 times that number. They don't want to listen, they'd rather listen to you.
We'd have promoted it.
Hey,
well, listen, while you say that, let me do a little bit of a pitch. So we have a 360-degree camera that's running at center stage right now, that's pulling that information and feeding it over to our immersive technology booth, where you can experience the center stage via 3D and VR and be a part of the center stage presentation across the showroom floor and experience that kind of technology.
It's
Big
amazing.
part of our future.
The AR, VR stuff on the show floor is amazing. I mean, I know that you've driven a lot of that through the association, and I think we should own that segment of the industry because we're the ones that ultimately have to display it. And so I think that you guys have done that really well. So any attendance projections? You think we're going to set an actual record?
Well, let's see. Our last record was 38.8. We're a lot higher than that.
Oh. Well, look at that. Yeah. Well, that was an air of confidence there, a lot higher than that. You know, it's interesting. ISE.
Can't you tell that?
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. And ISE this past February didn't just break a record, like blew away the record.
Yeah.
And people, I think, were a little shocked. Are we going to expect something in that range?
Well, you know, have you seen Mike Blackman walking around?
I have not.
He looks a little nervous.
Is he nervous? We got to catch up with him.
I heard a rumor yesterday afternoon from a source close to InfoComm CEO that said that we were going to break 40. So,
well, you should believe some of the things you hear. You know, let's talk about other numbers. Let's talk about 8,000 people have volunteered for us so far this year, or been a part of an InfoComm program that isn't the InfoComm show. They've attended a roundtable, they've been a part of a class, they've sat through a webinar. Let's talk about that. Earlier this week, we broke 11,000 CTS holders. I mean, this is a program that you guys were a part of starting. We've now got 11,000 people out there that are building their career. We're 20-30% up in education. I mean, the standing room only at emerging trends, 200 people at Tide. I mean, there's just not a number that isn't exciting to talk about here. And there's that last number that we'll announce tomorrow afternoon, and you'll be jazzed about that number. I know you will, but the other numbers are great, and what's even more important is the buzz, the energy, the excitement, the sense of tomorrow.
It's going to help the economy. Everybody's been worried about the economy for the last year. The discussion in our industry will stop, hopefully, because we've had 2 giant shows in a row, and that can't be anything but good.
Our industry's outperformed the economy in every region in the world. There's not a single region in the world where our industry isn't growing faster than GDP. We're in a good place. We made some good job decisions, guys.
That's right, we did. And you talked about attendance. I taught a 4K session today, and that's certainly one of the largest group of people I've had attend one of my classes at InfoComm ever. It was standing room in the back. So you're obviously doing well in education. Do you have any numbers on the percentage? I'm really interested, not the numbers, but the percentage of people who come to InfoComm and participate in education. I think is super important. I think sometimes it gets overlooked by some people, but I think now that has transitioned over the years. I know that it's got to be a higher percentage than ever before.
You see how he did that, Joel? Because there's a published number about how many people participated, and if I give the percentage, then he could do the math backwards and get the number of attendees. See how he did that? Let me do it this way. Last year, for the first time, we did the all-you-can-eat model for education. You pay one price, you go to any education you want to go to. We expanded that this year and included the manufacturer's training. So within that model, we had over 2,800 people taking manufacturing training in the seats. The numbers of people that registered for classes, or the seats that were filled, I think we're somewhere in the 20,000 number.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't mean that's how many people attended, because some people may have signed up for 12 classes and only been able to get to 3. But that's the beauty of that program, is people have flexibility.
Excellent. First of all, I'm excited that you actually joined us here and surprised us. It's funny. Maybe you'll get this too. We were talking about cool products we show on the show floor, and here's well, they're not a little company, GLP. They're a big lighting company. They've invented this little piece of plastic that goes on truss that helps you with cable management.
Sure.
And everybody in the staging market is going nuts over this thing. And all it is a little piece of plastic, but apparently it's like a godsend.
We have, for over 30 years, used black cord tie to do that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see that. Basically, it pops over the top of, I'll hold it up a little higher, over the top of truss, opens, you put the cable management in there, close it. It's called Snap, it's patented.
Can I tell you why it didn't exist until now? After 30 years of it?
Plastic? I
We
don't
used
know.
to have to use cotton cord because lights used to get hot. They used to be
Oh.
incandescent, and
And now
plastic
they're-
would melt.
now
And
they're
now they're
LED.
LEDs.
So this
which-
company, GermanLightProducts.com, GLP.com, which makes
Right.
lights.
Right.
They make LED lighting systems. They made this product, and I think it's one of the coolest things on the show floor, even though it's like a little piece of plastic. That's amazing that our industry, you can sell a piece of plastic
There's,
like
there's
that. in the
innovation
industry.
everywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to sell a
There
piece
is.
of paper next year.
I'll tell you, no, that is actually an exciting thing.
Yeah, so look, this has been a special edition of our daily wrap-up that we have, Joel and I have every year at the end of the shows. We're doing this live on Facebook Live. You can see all of our coverage here, all of our rave coverage here at InfoComm at ravepubs.com/InfoComm2017. And thanks for watching on behalf of Joel Rollins. We really appreciate you watching. We'll be back tomorrow night with a wrap-up show.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Thank you.